Hi, my name is Tian. I made a video a couple weeks ago about it was my story about how I became an addict and um, how I struggled to finally get clean after 7.5 years of using heroin. I'm making a video today. Basically, I wanted to talk a little bit about methadone maintenance because that's the path that I used towards my recovery. Um, I've been on methadone maintenance for approximately uh, going on 13 years. There was a period of time after 9 years that I did get off of methadone because I wanted to see if I could stay clean on my own without the use of methadone. And I stayed off methadone for, I want to say, approximately 6 or 7 months. And I ended up going back on methadone after 6 or 7 months of being abstinent from methadone because the craving to use came back with a vengeance. And I didn't want to use again and throw everything away that I worked to build in my life over the past, it was 9 years at the time. Um, so I went back on methadone because I was scared to death that I would go back to the way that I was using before and I would lose everything that I worked so hard to build up in my life over the past 9 years. So they wouldn't let me come back to the clinic unless I had opiates in my system, and I didn't want to use, so I took a couple pain pills just so there would be opiates in my system so they would accept me at the clinic again, which kind of didn't make sense to me why they were forcing me to basically relapse in order to go back to the clinic. I mean, it should have been in their system that I was a patient on methadone for 9 years or so. Um, and I should have been able to just get back on the clinic without having to go through the process of going back on drugs in order to go back to the clinic. But they wanted opiates in my system in order to be reinducted back into the clinic again. So um, I didn't use heroin, but I took 2 pain pills just so they would be in my system. My mother-in-law takes Loratabs for back pain, and she gave me 2 pain pills so that I would have opiates in my system. And then I went back to the clinic, and when they drug tested me, I showed positive for opiates because I took the 2 pain pills, and they put me back on the clinic. Um, I don't consider that a relapse because I didn't go out and use. I just took 2 pain pills in order to be readmitted into the clinic again because I didn't want to go the other route, which was to actually use heroin in order to be readmitted into the clinic. So that's one way that you can get back into the clinic without having to actually necessarily use. Um, what I wanted to talk today about is how methadone has been incredibly helpful in my life for the past going on 13 years. Um, Methadone not only takes away withdrawal symptoms, but if you get on the right dose, it completely takes away cravings. I have no cravings to use heroin. You could put heroin in my face right now, and I could totally um, flush it down the toilet. I mean, I have no desire to use. It took away the mental obsession that I was feeling for so many years. I mean, I would go to jail for petty crimes, and once I got through the withdrawal process, I was then taken over by the mental obsession to want to use, and I really feel very strongly that methadone can be an avenue to get clean if you have made attempts to get clean on your own, or even have had stints in rehabs and the abstinence only model hasn't worked for you. The statistics say that only 1% of heroin addicts can get clean on their own and stay clean for a long period of time. I knew after I found this statistic out that I was not part of the 1%. Addiction in my family runs really deep. My mother was an addict. Her brother and sister were both addicts. My mother's father struggled with alcohol. And addiction is really big in my family. On my mother's side. My father's side, not so much. They aren't perfect people, but addiction wasn't something that they really struggled with for the most part. My father kind of experimented with drugs in the 70s. I think I mentioned this in my first video. And I guess you could say he outgrew it or got past that phase in his life where he was experimenting with drugs and stuff. He even experimented with heroin, from what I was told. And that's how he contracted the hepatitis C virus. And my father passed away in 2011 from liver failure. He passed away 5 months after my mother passed away. Both of my parents passed away within 5 months. But he wasn't a hardcore drug addict, and he wasn't addicted like my mother was. My mother even said how it kind of wasn't fair how he was stricken with this illness the way that he was when he really didn't struggle with an addiction the way that she did. My mother contracted the HIV virus in the late 80s, and she went into full-blown AIDS in 2001. I found out she was in the hospital in 2001, right around the time that I found out I was pregnant with my first son. And she said, what I have going on with me as far as my illness goes, she said, I deserve what's happening to me, because I abused drugs very heavily, and this is the payback for being an addict. She said, your dad, on the other hand, didn't struggle with addiction the way that I did. He used drugs in the 70s, but he also stopped using drugs and lived a very abstinent, decent life. I mean, I don't ever remember my dad using drugs as a kid. I think he used before I was born, and after I was born, he kind of straightened out his life. My father remarried after my parents divorced, and he had 4 kids with his second wife. And I'm always comparing myself to his other kids, because his other kids are all college graduates and have great careers. 3 out of the 4 kids are nurses. 1 of them is a teacher. And I started to go to college, but I had a traumatic thing happen to me in college. After my second year, I was assaulted brutally off campus by 2 guys that went to the college I went to. And it was a very violent, terrible assault that I went through. And I quit after my second year because it was just more than I could handle. They made a videotape of the assault, and somehow it got passed around to several other classmates. And I started to get a bad reputation in the school because they didn't realize that I was unconscious during the assault. I was given a date rape drug. And I wasn't even coherent during the assault. I was completely incoherent and asleep, basically. Which I'm kind of glad that I was asleep, because I don't have any memory of what happened to me. And I never saw the videotape of what happened to me. So I just know something happened to me. But I've never known what. But I ended up quitting after my second year because I couldn't handle the the whispers and the talking about me behind my back and stuff. So I never ended up getting my bachelor's degree like I wanted to. I got an associate's degree after 2 years, and that was the end of it. But I just feel like when I compare myself to my dad's 4 other kids, I kind of feel like the loser in the family. I feel like I'm the one that went down the wrong path. I'm the one that made horrific mistakes with my life that altered my life forever. And I'm always comparing myself to them. They don't even know, you know, the actual job that I'm doing right now to make money, because I'm too ashamed to tell them, to let them know that I'm working basically a minimum wage paying job right now at this moment. But I just paid for a course. I just paid for it last Thursday, when I got paid. I paid for to take this training course in recovery peer support specialist, to become a recovery peer support specialist. I'm getting my certification in that. And after I get my certification, after I take the training course, I'll be eligible to get an internship, a paid internship, where I can get my 500 hours that I have to do under the supervision of somebody who's already supervised. I'm really excited about that. I mean, because I've been feeling really bad about the fact that I didn't finish my education, and my opportunities are really limited as far as what I can do with my life, with a job or a career moving forward. Because I don't want to think that I gave up drugs and turned everything around in my life, and I'm going to be stuck working at like convenience stores and stuff like that the rest of my life, because that's just not where I want my life to go. I am too smart and too determined to do something better with my life than to be stuck in a minimum wage paying job for the rest of my days. So I'm really looking forward to taking this course and hoping that this will be the push that I need to get myself into a career that will better my quality of life and allow me to make better income. And plus, I'll be doing something that I'm really passionate about, because I'm really passionate about helping people that really have the desire to get off drugs and change their way of life. I mean, anyone who has even a little bit of a desire to change their life in a more positive way. I have the I have the desire to help them and steer them in the right direction. And I feel I can do so by letting them know what I did to get sober, how I went through tremendous hardships during my addiction, and how I found a way to come out the other side and find a better quality of life. And when you do first get clean, you do have to start from the bottom. I mean, I didn't want to take a low paying, minimum wage paying job. I mean, initially, I wanted to get a different kind of job, and I was looking for office based jobs and stuff like that. But I wasn't getting hired anywhere. I kept getting turned down for those jobs. And it was my son, my oldest son, who said, Mom, you haven't worked in over 17 years. He said, you have to start from the bottom. He said, you can't think that you're going to walk into a job after not working for so long and they're going to give you an opportunity when you haven't been employed for going on almost 20 years. And what he said made sense to me. So I decided to start looking for jobs that were more minimum wage paying jobs, like sorry, like convenience stores and stuff like that. So I've been working basically at convenience stores the last couple of years. I don't tell my dad's kids that that's what I've been doing. I told them I was a receptionist at a architectural firm. I said I was a receptionist at an architectural firm, and that's what I've been doing for work. Because I was just too ashamed to tell them, yeah, I'm working at a convenience store or a gas station or whatever. Even though there's nothing wrong with working at a gas station, it's honest pay. It's honest pay for an honest day's work, and I'm not denying that. But I just felt ashamed that they have these really great gun jobs, and I'm stuck working in a job that I'm miserable at. But today I thought I would give you a little bit of a 101 on methadone. I was also even gonna take my morning dose in front of the camera to show you what it's like to be on methadone and what a day looks like taking methadone. I'll do that in a little bit. But methadone, when you first start on methadone, they start you on a low dose. When I got started, I was started in a hospital after I gave birth to my daughter. And they started me at, I want to say, 40 or 50 milligrams, which when you usually get started on a clinic, they start you at around 30 milligrams. And that's the max that you get for that first day. And you can go up 10 milligrams every day after that day. And when you reach 80 milligrams, I think it's 80 milligrams, they hold you at it for a couple days. They hold you at 80 milligrams for several days. And then you can, after the few days are up, and they're watching to see how you react to it. They're watching to make sure you're not overdosing on it or having any kind of negative reactions to it. Because when you start methadone, they don't exactly know how much heroin you were doing. And as addicts, we tend to be very deceitful people and very dishonest. And it would be nothing for an addict to go in there and say, yeah, I'm doing $200 worth of heroin every day. And literally, maybe in reality, they're only doing $40 or $50 a day. But they want to get the most methadone because they want to get rid of the sickness right away. So they want to get as much as they can right away. As an addict, if a pill bottle says take 1, we take 4. And I know that as addicts we do that. We always quadruple the amount that we're supposed to take. Doesn't make us bad people, but we just tend to overdo things when it comes to medication or anything or anything we're supposed to take. We usually take much more of it than we're supposed to. So methadone clinics are federally mandated, and they can't go above 30 or 40 milligrams. The clinic I went to, I believe I got 30 milligrams. When I restarted the methadone clinic after 9 years, they started me at 30 milligrams the first day, and you go up at 10 milligrams a day. But when I got started in the hospital after I gave birth to my daughter, they started me around 50 milligrams. And I remember I still feel ill several hours after I took that first dose. And they gave me a second dose that day, um, of another 20 milligrams, 20 or 25 milligrams. And I went up to 75 milligrams. Now that totally took care of the withdrawal symptoms, and I did feel pretty good, um, the entire week that I stayed in the hospital. I felt really good, in fact. Um, and then they helped me get connected with a methadone clinic that was close enough to my house that I could get there easily with just one bus. And I started on a methadone clinic a week after I got out of the hospital. I'm, well, not a week after I got out of the hospital. I was in the hospital for a week, and the day after I left the hospital, I went to the methadone clinic I was supposed to go to, and I stayed at that clinic for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, and I switched to another clinic because the clinic I was going to, even after I got Medicaid, they were still asking me to pay, I forget how much it was, $20 a week. And the clinic that I transferred to, um, I didn't have to pay anything. My Medicaid paid for the entire clinic, and there wasn't any type of copayment whatsoever. So I switched to a different clinic when I found out this other clinic would accept me, and I wouldn't have to make a copayment anymore because I wasn't working at the time, and my grandmother was helping me out paying the clinic, and I thought, why would I want to have to? Why would I want to go to a clinic where I have to ask my grandmother for $20 a week when I could go to a clinic that is completely covered by Medicaid and I wouldn't have to pay anything? So I switched to a second clinic. I stayed there. I stayed there until I was at the clinic for 9 years. So I was there many years. And then the clinic that I was going to Medicaid stopped paying them. So they let it go, and they let the patients continue to go for free that were initially paying Medicaid. But after so many years of not getting paid by Medicaid for all the patients that were paying Medicaid, were Medicaid paying patients, they eventually had to force the patients to make some sort of payment towards the methadone every week. And I was paying, I forget how much it was, like around, it was around $60, $68 every 2 weeks because I was going to the clinic every 2 weeks. And at that point in time, I was living with my ex-husband. My ex-husband was incarcerated, and I was living in his house. And his house was a guest house of his dad's property. And his dad was taking me to the methadone clinic every 2 weeks. And his father actually lent me the money to, well, not lent really, I shouldn't say the word lent because I never paid him back the money that he gave me for the methadone clinic, but he gave me the money to pay for my methadone clinic. He was so happy to see that I had made such a positive change in my life that he didn't want to see me backslide. So he offered to pay my methadone clinic so that I can continue to get the treatment that I was getting that was helping me stay clean and stay abstinent from heroin. So my father-in-law ended up getting really sick. He passed away just a very short time ago, maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And when my ex-husband got released from prison, I moved out of his house and I rented a room from a lady, and I lived there for about a year and a half, and then I moved to where I'm living now. I'm renting a room from a guy. He's in his 50s, and I absolutely love where I'm living. I've got the master suite in the house. It's a really big bedroom with a little vanity room and my own private bathroom. So I really love where I'm living. But anyway, what happened was with the clinic, I uh, I had gained so much weight over the years that I couldn't walk to the bus stop anymore to take a bus to the clinic. So when my father-in-law was no longer able to take me to the clinic, um, I stopped going to the clinic. But I had a bunch of methadone saved up because every time I would get my 2 weeks worth of take homes, I would always forget to take like one or two every 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't mean to, and I would take the methadone from the bottle and I would transfer it into a different bottle. And I had this container full of all these methadone doses that I had forgotten to take over the course of several years. So when I quit going to the methadone clinic, I had a bunch of methadone and I weaned myself off the methadone slowly with the methadone I had stored up. And I basically got off methadone without any withdrawal symptoms whatsoever. Don't ask me how I did that. I have no idea how I managed to completely get myself off methadone without having any sort of withdrawal symptoms, but I did. I had no withdrawal symptoms whatsoever. And when I started this new clinic that I'm going to now, I've been at this clinic for, I want to say 4 or 5 years. Maybe 4 years. I had to start from scratch again. So I had to go every day for the first, couple months. And then I started getting take-home doses after I had 3 months worth of drug screenings that were clean of any illicit drugs. The only thing I have in my system, I have severe anxiety disorder, so I take clonazepam, or Klonopin is the brand name. I take Klonopin when I have severe anxiety or if I'm super stressed out by something. I'll take a Klonopin to relax me because I can't, when I get anxiety, it manifests itself in physical ways with my body, where I will get intensive nausea and vomiting if I'm super stressed out or I have a lot of anxiety going on. So I take it. I only take it when I need it. So I really have quite a bit of it right now because I don't take it every day. I only take it, like I said, when I absolutely need it. So I have probably like 100 pills right now because I don't take it all that often. But I started on this new clinic, and it's 2 buses from my house. But at this point, I don't have to go every day anymore. I get 2 weeks worth of take homes, and every 2 weeks I go on a Monday, and I'll see my counselor when I go in, and talk to her for a while. And I have to do 1.5 groups every month. So usually when I see my counselor, she counts it as an hour-long group, and I see her at least twice a month. So I get like 2 hours worth of groups in every month, and I only have to have an hour and a half. So that's what I have to do as far as in order for me to keep my take homes. I have to do an hour and a half of either talking with my counselor, or they have groups that you can do on the phone. They also have some that you can do in person, but I live kind of a distance away from the clinic. So if I do a group I'll do it over the phone. I don't do it in person because it's so far away. It would be ridiculous for me to have to travel all the way across town to do a group when I could just do it over the phone. But usually, my groups come from my one-on-one sessions with my counselor, and I have the absolute best counselor you could ever imagine. She's so easy to talk to. I have no problem telling her things about myself that are really personal and intimate, because I know she's not judging me. And in fact, I shared with her in great detail about something that happened to me when I was younger, and she got really emotional about it. And I was really taken back by how emotional she got about it. And I thought, wow, I really have an awesome counselor. She was so, you know, upset by what happened to me when I was younger. I mean, I was about almost 20 when I was about 20 when it happened. And I don't you don't see too many methadone counselors that get that involved in their patients or their clients' life, where they get emotionally involved and they get emotional when a client tells them something that happened to them. And she and I have a lot in common. She went through different things as a child, just like I did. We both came from mothers that were addicted when we were kids. And I really enjoy talking to her. She's somebody that I really feel really comfortable sharing personal and intimate details about myself with, because I know I can talk openly with her and there's no judgment. There's no, she's on one level and I'm on another level. I feel like we're two equals, and I feel like even though she's the counselor and I'm the patient, she has shared things about herself with me that are rather intimate and personal. And she just lets me know that we're both two people that have gone through things, and we may have taken two different paths. She's never been on drugs, and I congratulate her for abstaining from drugs. And even though she's went through some horrific ordeals as a child, and even as an adult, she has gone through traumatic things. She didn't go down the path that I went down, which was addiction. But she's an incredibly helpful person. I have her personal number, and at times, if I need to talk to her about something, I can reach out to her, and she'll respond, and we text back and forth. She even texted me, I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, and wished me either Merry Christmas or Happy Thanksgiving. I don't remember which holiday it was, but I've never had a counselor ever reach out to me on a holiday and wish me well on the holiday. And I just feel so blessed that I finally got a counselor that really genuinely cares about the direction of my life and wants to see me do well. I've had counselors in the past, but I don't think I really mattered to them. I was just a number. I was just another face in the crowd, and they didn't really care that much about me personally, where they took an interest in my life and wanted to see me do well. Sorry, I've got dry mouth. That's one of the downsides about methadone, is it gives you really bad dry mouth. But I wanted to, sorry. Okay. I wanted to show you guys what it actually looks like to take your dose of methadone in the morning. So I am going to put myself on the camera. Okay. This is the methadone dose. Okay. I take 103 milligrams of methadone every day. So we open it up, and then there's a seal on top, you see, and that's just to prevent the methadone from leaking out of the bottle when it's being transported from the clinic to your house. And then what I do is I take water, and I pour the water in the methadone. Okay, so this is the methadone, and it doesn't taste too good. It's not the tastiest stuff in the world, and that's why I dilute it with water, because it lessens the kind of the nasty taste of it. And then I fill I fill the methadone bottle up one more time with water to get all of the methadone out. So I'm getting the whole dose. And that is it. And when you go to a methadone clinic, you have to have a box. This is my methadone carry-all box. It's a lock box, basically. And you have to, so this is what my box looks like. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think I'm getting a good angle of it. Sorry. I can't quite get it. But this is kind of what the box looks like from the inside. It's got all the bottles in it. I'm not getting a good angle of it. I'm sorry, guys. But I number all my bottles because I get 13 take home. So this is the number 7, okay? I number all the bottles. Now tomorrow is number 8. So I take number 8 and I put it out on my counter next to my water, and it's ready to go for tomorrow. And the reason why I put them out like that instead of leaving them all in the box at the same time is because when I go to work in the morning, I'm not that I'm rushing around or anything, because I always allow plenty of time to get ready for work. But I tend to forget things sometimes. Like the one day I forgot to wear my watch to work, and I was so mad because all day I kept looking at my wrist trying to tell the time, and I kept forgetting my watch wasn't on my wrist anymore, on my wrist that day. So I put the methadone out because if I don't have it out where I can see it on my counter, I will forget to take it. And I don't want to forget to take it because I wouldn't get sick necessarily from not taking it one dose one day. I would probably be okay. But I'm one of these people, all it takes is 1 or 2 days of not doing something that I'm in the routine of doing, and then I have to get back in the routine of doing it, and it takes me a moment to get back in the routine of doing something that I need to do. So I like to have the methadone out so I can see it. So excuse me, sorry, I had a burp there. Sorry, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I like to have it out so that way I see it, so it reminds me to take it. So that way when I'm getting ready for work in the morning and I'm doing my hair and fixing my face for work, I see the methadone and it reminds me, oh yeah, I need to take my methadone before I leave. And that's why I always take the dose for the next morning, and I have it out and on the counter and ready. And there's nobody in my house that comes into my room ever. I am a paid tenant here, so nobody ever comes in my room unless I invite them in my room. So when I'm not here, nobody ever comes in my room and disturbs anything in my room. So I'm not worried in the least bit about leaving the one dose out for the next day, because I know nobody's going to come in my room and disturb my room or move anything or steal anything. I feel very safe insecure where I'm living. I absolutely love where I'm living. I'm living with two males. I have two male roommates. The one is the owner of the house, and the other is his good friend who has been staying with us. He says it's just a temporary thing, but he's been here for the entire year and a half that I've been here, which it doesn't bother me any because I'm fine with both of them. They're both really nice guys, and I really liked both of them. His friend actually, the day I was moving in, I came into my room and I was getting ready to unpack my stuff, and I saw that my bed, I bought a brand new bed before I moved here because the room didn't come furnished with a bed. So I bought a brand new bed for my room before I moved in, and his friend put the whole bed together for me before I got here. I was really pleasantly surprised when I walked in the room and saw that my bed was already put together, because I was thinking, oh my God, I got to put this bed together. And I'm not I'm not the greatest at putting things together. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see that my bed was already put together and ready to go. And all I had to do was put sheets and a comforter on it, and I was ready to sleep for the night. And I absolutely love my room. My favorite color is purple, so my whole bedroom is purple. I know this is kind of off topic. This has nothing to do with methadone. I'm just talking. So my bedroom everything is purple. I have a little purple mini fridge. I bought a purple little chair with an ottoman. My comforter is purple. My sheets are purple. I have a runner that goes across my dresser that's purple. I couldn't find a purple fan anywhere, so my fan is pink. And I have a bench at the end of my bed that I sit on when I'm getting dressed and getting undressed, and that's also pink. But I have a blanket that's purple that's over the bench because I don't want the bench to get dirty. So I protect the bench by keeping this purple blanket over it to keep it from getting any kind of spots on it or getting dirty in any way. Anyway, I know that has nothing to do with methadone, but as far as methadone goes, the methadone has been a blessing in my life. I'm able to have a job today. I'm hopefully going to have a career soon after I take this course for the recovery peer support. And all of this is possible because of methadone. All of it is. Because before methadone came in my life, I attempted to get clean. I know two times I attempted to get clean. And both times I was triggered by the craving to use. And that's why I ended up using, is because I had extremely strong cravings to use the drug. The methadone, once you get on the right dose of methadone, and the reason I didn't stay at 75 milligrams that they put me on in the hospital is because later on down the line, I started having drug dreams. Really intensive drug dreams about using, and I would wake up really flustered about the dream that I had and upset that I had this dream. And I was talking to my counselor about it at the clinic, and the counselor said, you should talk to the nurse about it because she may be able to suggest something as far as your methadone dose. Maybe it needs to be adjusted. So I told the nurse that I was having these incredibly bad drug dreams almost every night, and it was preventing me from having a really good night's rest because I was waking up in the middle of the night from having these really bad dreams about me using drugs or trying to use drugs. So I upped my dose a couple times, and when I did that, it really eliminated even the drug dreams. So methadone can not only help you abstain from drugs, but it takes away the craving to use, so you uh, you don't even think about this stuff anymore. You don't think about heroin, or if your drug of choice is some type of opiate based pill. It takes away that desire to want to use. It takes away the mental obsession and allows you to carry on with your life and not be overwhelmed with the thoughts of using. Because I don't know how I don't know how anybody can expect you to work on other areas of your life when you're crippled by thoughts of using constantly. I mean, that's why the 12-step model, like the AA meetings, NA meetings, didn't really work for me. Now, my first year, 5 years of sobriety, I went to meetings every single day without fail. But I had to hide the fact that I was on methadone. I never told anybody at these meetings that I was on methadone because I knew that they wouldn't understand, and they would basically tell me that my clean time wasn't legit and that I was still in active use. And that just isn't true. The moment that I got on methadone, I have not used any sort of heroin whatsoever. I used 2 pain pills after 9 years to get readmitted into the clinic because I felt that I needed to go back to the clinic because I was having cravings to use again. And I didn't want to relapse on heroin. The 2 pain pills that I took didn't do anything to me. I didn't even get a buzz from them. I have such a high tolerance when it comes to opiates that it would take a real lot of an opiate based medication to even give me a buzz. So they didn't do anything to me. All they did was put the opiate in my system. So when I took the drug screening, it would show up that I had opiates in my system. And that was the only time I had opiates in my system in the last going on 13 years. I have been able to maintain my sobriety for going on 13 years with the help of this medication. I feel like this medication is a godsend because before I got on this medication, after I had my daughter, I didn't think it was possible for me to get clean. I really thought that I was going to be stuck in my addiction till the end of my days. And I thought I would die a junkie. And now I know that I don't have to leave this world in such a despicable manner. I can carry on with my life in a respectful, dignified way. And when I do leave this earth, whenever that day comes, I will leave this earth in a manner that is respectful and dignified. And I will not have to leave my children with the memory that I left this world in active addiction. I feel free not having to be saddled with that addiction every single day and worrying about how I'm going to get the money, if am I going to be able to get the drug. It was a constant worry in my life, a constant worry. Every day was constantly worrisome about this drug and making sure that I got it every day. And the moment that I stopped doing the drug in the hospital after I had my daughter, it was the most freeing feeling I'd felt in about 7.5 years. And it feels so good to not be overwhelmed with the mental obsession and the worry of, am I going to get the money? Are the drug dealers going to be working, or did one of them get arrested again? It's just a great feeling to not be consumed with worry and dread every single day of my life. And that's basically the gist of what I want to talk about today. I hope that I've given you guys a little bit of a better understanding about methadone and how helpful it can be when you're struggling with an opiate addiction or a heroin addiction and you don't know where to turn to get help because you just can't seem to do it on your own. if you're in a city where there are methadone clinics that are readily available for you to go and sign up for, I suggest looking into it. Research methadone on the internet and find out what you can find out about it. If anybody has any questions, you can always send me a comment or a question, and I'd be happy to answer it and give you a little more details about how methadone clinics work and how easy it is to become a patient and allow this methadone to work in your life and give you back a quality of life that's worth living for again. But thank you guys for listening, and have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.